Hi, I'm Nick Herman,
And I'm Melanie Herman.
and this is the Brain Change for You podcast.
We're really excited today to have a guest visitor today. We're going to tell you about him and his experience with brain challenges and his continued desire to change his brain. Even at his age, he has a very interesting and touching story. I thought it would be very important and helpful for parents and teachers and all people to hear his story and learn about him and actually from his wisdom and his example to persevere and keep trying and doing the things you can to make your brain function better. His name is Mike Budge, and so we titled this podcast, It's Never Too Late to Change Your Brain. Meet Mike Budge. So he's going to be right here in 1 second. And again, Nick, why don't you review neuroplasticity?
So neuroplasticity is the new brain science, or the ability for the brain to change its own structure and functioning through activity and mental experiences.
Okay, great. Okay, Nick's going to sign out. Oh, one more note. Our podcasts are going to be much shorter than they have been. We're going to try and keep them to 15 minutes and send out more instead of the lengthy ones. We know you're busy, but we have important information to share, especially Mike's story today. So our podcasts will be shorter and just come more frequently.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, how you doing, Melanie?
This is Mike Budge, and I've had the privilege of knowing Mike and talking to him over the past couple of years. A couple years ago, he contacted me about, actually, I think it was neurofeedback that he was interested in, and we had some discussions back a few years ago, and then he actually did some neurofeedback with another clinician, and we continued to talk and get in touch with each other, and just recently he decided that he wanted to go ahead with a program called PACE, which is Processing and Cognitive Enhancement, and so he started doing that with me in May, I think in May, end of May of this year, and so just as we've been working together and he's made significant gains in his cognitive abilities, one day we were working on auditory processing, and it was, I don't know, this was a kind of a new discovery to Mike, that part of his challenge had to do with auditory processing. And I asked him, I said, Mike, when did you, I'm a kindergarten teacher. I've been a kindergarten teacher, and so I've worked with children on hearing sounds, letter sounds or phonemes, and this was something that Mike, who's a very fluent reader, was really struggling with phonemes or hearing the individual sounds in words. So I asked him how was it as a school student, a kindergartner, when you were learning the alphabet and the sounds and learning to read, and that session actually developed into a time where he shared his story with me, and I thought, wow, this would be really helpful for teachers and parents and individuals to hear, and so he agreed to share his story. So that's sort of our introduction, and I'm going to let Mike take it from here. Okay.
Like Melanie says, I'm Mike Budge, and I wanted to tell my story about my struggle with the auditory problems I've had. When I first noticed there was a problem when I was a young boy going to kindergarten, and my mother, the first day of kindergarten, my mom brought me to Summit School here in Smithfield, Utah, and we had a 2-hour session where we talked to the teacher in the class, and I sat there in the class and was looking around, and it was only going to be 2 hours that day. And anyway, as I was looking around the room, I saw the picture, the alphabet around the room. And then I couldn't really comprehend. I couldn't focus on what that meant in a way. I remember, and I knew what ABC was, but other than that, I couldn't focus really good on that, and it was kind of frustrating for me. And then I saw some letters underneath a picture. I'm not sure what it said, like Jane, go, or something like that. And then I saw some mathematical problems like 2 + 2 or something on the board there, and I really couldn't comprehend what it was. Then the teacher started to talk to the class, my mom and when I was sitting by me. And it's almost like she was talking about she was talking in a different language. I just couldn't comprehend what she was saying. And I was thinking to myself, I hope my mom's listening, because I can't comprehend what she's saying. And so anyway, I just felt I couldn't focus, and I felt kind of in a dream world, and I just felt kind of bad about it. And my neighbor next to me, my friend, he was communicating with the teacher, and he said that he knew the alphabets, he knew the complete alphabets, and I knew maybe A, B, C, and that made me feel kind of bad. And then the other neighbor says that he can count to 100, and I can only count maybe to 17 or something like that, and that made me feel kind of bad. But anyway, my mom, we left, and then the next day, my mom brought me to kindergarten again, which was from 8 to 12 that day. It was a full schedule. And then she let me out her door, and then I didn't want to go because how frustrated I was the day before, and how focused and scary it was for me to go to school. And so I went into the Summit School front door, and I peered back through the window of the door and saw my mother drive away. And so when she drove away, I went outside and hid behind some bushes by the school there, right in the front. And I hid there until about what I thought to be 11, almost 12 o'clock. And then I walked home. And then the same thing happened the next day too. My mom brought me to the kindergarten and let me out. I walked into the Summit School, looked through the window, and my mom left. And so I went out and hid in the bushes again until I thought it was noon, and then I went walked home. And pretty soon the teacher and my mom realized what was going on. They knew that my little trick, what I was doing, and they told me I had to come to class. And anyway, I was really very uncomfortable in class. Like I told you a minute ago, it was really foggy and scary. The students were communicating with the teacher, and I just couldn't communicate with her. I was just, it didn't feel right. I didn't feel good about it. And that was the way that from ages, the grades from 1st to 6th was the same way. I would be in remedial classes sometimes. They would put me in remedial classes, and real simple things like they'll say, well, Mike, you've got to read more, and then you'll be all right if you read more. Or the teachers would say, you got to think, you got to study better, you got to think better. And I just tried as hard as I could, but it was really hard. And every time we'd have a graduation thing where they hand you a piece of paper and say, hey, you can go from 3rd grade to 4th grade. I was ecstatic. I just thought, I graduated, which I didn't think I deserved to. But and mainly too, I wanted to stay with my peers. I didn't want to be left behind. And when I got to junior high, was the same problem.
I'll go to the next picture.
Okay. Oh, good. We got a picture of me there. When I was in junior high, I had the same problem, the focus problem. Couldn't think. The teacher would talk. I couldn't understand. It was like they speak in different language. And even my friends and that, I really couldn't focus really good on what they were saying a lot of times, and couldn't understand sometimes what they were saying. But I kind of act like I was normal, and just kept going. And I got quite a few friends just by where I had a problem. I think I was sympathetic with my other friends, and so I was lucky enough to be able to be nominated for certain offices, like it shows here, Smithfield Junior High officers. And then in high school, it was the same scenario. I got to high school, and the teachers seemed like, again, they was talking, I just couldn't understand them, and the students, I didn't get real good grades, and then there was a remedial class. I played on football sports. In sporting, I was able to excel, and it made me feel good, about it. And then where I couldn't study very well or focus in class in school, my sports, I was able to excel in that and made me feel better about myself. And I played football and basketball. And then in some of the grades I was in high school, they had a little remedial class where I had to go in and they helped me do my studies and stuff like that. And I was really embarrassed because I was on the football team and basketball team. And so I would hide in the, when my friends were walking down the hall, I said, I got to go to a class. And they'd ask me which one. I said, well, I was just going down the hall. And then I just get out of the hall and go in that class. And, my high school year was very, very hard for me. It was right after high school I realized there was a problem, you know, and so I went and saw a psychologist right after high school, and he told me that I just actually saw two of them. One of them told me just to grow up and just keep going, you know, and relax and try harder to concentrate, they tell me. And so it was kind of a disaster where it was very, very hard for me to go to a psychologist anymore. And then I went on my mission.
Mike, before you talk about your mission,
okay.
Let's talk about high school and school just a little bit more.
Okay.
So I thought it was really interesting that Mike, a lot of children and people that have learning challenges and those kind of things also struggle socially. And clearly Mike was very well liked. He was elected to be a junior high class officer. He was elected to be student body president his senior year. And also he told me that he was also in some of the royalties chosen by the student body to be in the dance royalties. And so you wouldn't think that this all-star football and basketball player would be struggling. And Mike, he kind of mentioned this, but he told me that because he struggled, he was so kind to everyone that he had a lot of friends. So Mike, but you told me that you didn't like being the class president. Will you tell a little bit about that? How you felt about this?
I didn't know you would bring that up. No, okay. A lot of people, when they're elected president or you're going to the dance, you're the prom king or being the senior class president is really fun, and you want to be that. You want that power or whatever it is, but I was the opposite. I didn't want to be this. My friends keep nominating me, and I didn't want to. I just seemed to stay home or sit in the corner to a dance, sit in the corner where I didn't want this publicity. I didn't want nothing. Sometimes in football, when I'd make a touchdown or something, and they'd put me on the radio, and I didn't want to be on there. In fact, a few times I told them I didn't want to talk on the radio. So
this kind of being in like the center of attention or being popular caused you anxiety.
Yeah, it caused me anxiety.
It wasn't necessarily rewarding.
It wasn't fun. Some people would thought it was fun. It wasn't fun at all, and I wish I wouldn't have been, I guess.
You told me also earlier that when you played sports, when the coach would say, I don't know, do 2 laps, you'd want to do 6. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Because of my problem, I have the auditory problem, I think I try to do better, and keep up with other people that are better than them. And like this coach would say, run a lap, and I would run 2 or 3 laps, and then I'd always be the first one around the lap too. I had to do that. And it was compensating for the problem I had, at the time. And so that might have been why, I pretty successful, I guess, in the sports, and because I tried twice or 3 times harder than other people would on that.
So, and Mike's mentioned his auditory processing, and I don't think that was something that he's even considered till this very summer, that his ability to hear and process language and sound has made probably the cause a lot of your challenges throughout the years.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping up and being calm in conversation and taking in information and those kind of things have been a struggle.
It has, yeah. It just and then the sad part about it is I didn't realize that I had that problem. Going to the psychologist and that they would think it's a psychological problem. I mean, but maybe it is, but that just relax or see more people or do more things. Just simple things that really didn't pertain to my problem. I need something else was wrong. Something else was wrong, you know,
Yeah.
than that. So.
So this we're going to end right here with this school segment, and we're going to continue in our very next with Mike's mission and his adult life. You know, it's interesting. I just recently on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Brain Change for You, we posted a link, a message from students with learning disabilities to their teachers. And if you haven't seen that, it's a fantastic depiction of what is happening in a brain of a child that is in a classroom trying really hard to keep up and trying really hard to understand what the teacher is saying, and kind of the effect, like Mike said, when the teacher said, just grow up, just concentrate, just try harder. And clearly, if the student could do that, they would be doing it. So that's really important information. You can watch that link at our Facebook page, Brain Change for You. And we'll continue our segment in just a few minutes.